of birth or place of birth के साथ. So let's start this show. Let's ask him how was your weekend.
My weekend was good, and thank you for the introduction as always. Hopefully, you had a better weekend than mine.
Yeah, I'm a GOT fan. Game of Thrones.
Okay, allegiance lies.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do want to do Narendra Modi's chart, and I've been asked many times by a lot of people, and I've been given different times. Apparently, there is a famous astrologer in India, K.N. Rao, who came to 12:10 p.m. As this time.
Okay.
And there was others who said 9:35 p.m. There was others who said 10:35. Somebody said 11:10, and then somebody said 12:10. And I looked through all of those permutation combinations.
Okay.
And I thought I'll use this show to tell people that what is my prognosis out of this. And I'm obviously going to take this, convert this into a YouTube video, upload it, and I'm actually recording my screen over there. Okay, so the first time that was given to me for Narendra Modi born on 17th September 1950 at 9:35 a.m. Now with this time, he comes as a Venus Lagna, or a rising ascendant. I'm sorry, I should say Libra ascendant, which is ruled by Venus. Now, Libra ascendant people typically are taller than average. They have good personalities because they're ruled by Venus, especially if it's well placed. And they tend to be broad shoulders, straight broad shoulders. They don't have the characteristics of Virgo Lagna, which is shoulders are typically drooping.
Venus क्या होता है हिंदी में?
Shukra.
Shukra. Okay.
Shukra, right. Shukravar, right? Comes from Venus, Friday. Yes, all of them come, all 7 days of the week. They come from planets.
Ah, that's true. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Really? All these years you did not know that? You're kidding me.
I'm not into astrology at all.
You don't have to be into astrology to know that.
You don't have to be in Game of Thrones to know it's a sci-fi.
Yeah, it's a sci-fi. Okay, so much for Game of Thrones and astrology. But listen, so Libra Lagan ruled by Venus. Now with this time of 9:35 a.m., he's got Jupiter, which is extremely well placed in the 5th house. Now, for government functions, we're going to look at Jupiter, we're going to look at Sun. Sun is weakened in the 12th house, Jupiter extremely strong in the 5th house. However, his Venus, even more strong, placed in the 11th house for fulfillment of desires and all of that. Two things. One, he does not look like a Libra Lagan. I mean, Modi is not very tall. Modi is about 5'5", 5'6", maybe tops 5'7". You look at his shoulders, you look at his face structure, he's got none of the characteristics of a typical Libra Lagan. And the other thing with the placement of Jupiter and Venus, this guy should have been rolling in a lot of money, even before getting into the office, the Prime Minister's office. So I'm going to rule that out 100%, that this is not his time. So I'm going to take the next time, which was given to me, and that was 11:10. Now when I go with
11:10 a.m. or p.m.?
11:10 11:10 a.m. Yes, correct. 11:10. Come on, Isha, don't confuse me. All right, 11:10 a.m. 11 a.m. Now this time actually seems more like his Lagan of sorts, which is Scorpio Lagan. Now, I'll tell you somebody else who's Scorpio Lagan, for instance, is Sanjay Dutt. Now, obviously, Modi does not look anything like Sanjay Dutt, but obviously every person is different and all of those things. Now, a lot of astrologers back in India have claimed that he is a Scorpio Lagan, although a lot of them have said he's a Libra Lagan, which is completely outlandish and borderline stupid. Really, he is not a Libra Lagan. So a lot of people have said that he is, and then they go back to the time when he got elected, and they say he got elected during the time of Moon. Now in his chart, Moon is actually the 9th lord. It is placed in the 1st house in the Lagan, which is good, because you want the 9th lord, the house of fortune, placed in your 1st house, which is the purest of all houses. And it gets strength. Kind of like Donald Trump, 9th lord Mars, placed in the 1st house, gives him strength. So Mars obviously gives him the leadership capability. Moon rules more of the mind. Mars rules more over courage, valor.
So first में क्या होना चाहिए?
First represents you. That's you, the whole your personality.
Okay.
So Moon placed over there, say, his fortune rose. And he's obviously a thinking mind or whatever it is, right? So he must be a Scorpio Lagna rising. Now, what they don't see, the fact is a couple of things. One, Jupiter in this case is in the 4th house. full of strength. Now Jupiter gets strength. Yeah, we'll give it some government functions. Looks at the 10th house, so we'll give it some strength. And okay, so Jupiter's in the 4th house. What it should also mean with Jupiter being so well placed that he should have had. He's got plenty of wisdom. I'll give that, but he should have had a fair amount of education also. He did not have that. Then he should have built a fair amount of property and all of that. And then with the strength that both Sun and Mercury get, this is the chart of a native or an individual who should have done very well financially even prior before getting into office. So they're looking at a very small segment, and he's yeah, the moon came. This is the time, but you're forgetting about Buddha Yoga in the 11th house, which gives so much strength, monetary strength to this native or this individual. So I'm going to say that this time is also incorrect just by looking at the overall strength of the chart. So I'm going to go with what K.N. Rao, who's apparently a famous astrologer in India. I haven't met him. A lot of them actually over the last 2-3 years have reached out to me. Believe it or not, I'm not going to give their names for me to look at their charts.
Astrologer chart.
Astrologers have asked me to look at their charts and give my opinion to them.
Oh wow.
Yeah, see, I'm being humble today for
I'm
some
sure you
reason.
are.
Okay, so 12:10 p.m. He still is a Scorpio Lagna. Now his Lagna goes to about 16 degrees, 16 and a half. So right, pretty much at the peak. So every Lagna rising in a span of 2 hours goes from 0 to 30 degrees. He's right at the peak. Now in this case, the strength of Sun and Mercury reduces. The strength of Mercury, which is a malefic, being the lord of the 12th house, it's also lord of the 7th house, in the 10th house actually hurts his 10th house. However, Jupiter still stays in the 4th house, which indicates property, strength, status, all of those things. Rahu and Ketu go into the 5th and 11th axis. Saturn is well placed, comes in the 10th, although not well placed by sign. But looking at this, including Mars, which is extremely weak, and the strength of Sun and Mercury, I think more so Sun than anything else, because all said and done, Modi's actually a renowned leader, right?
Of course, yeah.
I mean, he is the leader of the developing country, which is on the cusp of being a developed country in a few years, right?
Yeah.
It is a nuclear power.
I have a question though.
Sure.
So if you guys are looking into Modi's chart, एक बहुत prominent चीज नहीं, because he's always been not a bachelor. He got married, but he was never into really like a marriage, proper marriage.
Yeah, yeah.
So वो factor नहीं देख के पता लगता?
Absolutely. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing. Besides the fact that Jupiter is well placed in the 4th house because it rules over. Interestingly, with the Scorpio Lagna, this is the time that most astrologers in India have come to this conclusion that he's between 11:10 and 12:10. And that was the thing I was going to say.
Okay.
So you kind of stole my thunder.
Sorry.
Thank you for that, Isha. But no, it is well placed, and that indicates not only family strength, it also indicates strength with children in his chart. And that's not happened. Mercury and Sun in the 11th house, Rahu, Ketu sitting in the 5th, 11th, which also indicates children, being a karmic planet. So this is a chart of a guy who's not only doing well financially before getting into office, before Moon took over. This is also a chart of a man who has accomplished all these things in life, besides the political connotation to it, right? Just to your point. So to say that 9:35, 10:10, 11:10, and even 12:10, this is not the time of Narendra Singh Modi. This is absolutely not the time. Any astrologer who is coming up with some prognostication, any astrologer is coming up with something based on a certain time, is speculating, and absolutely, I will go as far as this, saying that that astrologer is lying through their teeth.
Okay.
So for them to say he's going to win is probably based on what the polls are saying or exit polls are saying or anything like that.
Yeah.
But
not as astrology wise.
from an astrology perspective, this is not it. So what is it? The answer is this is going to take a fair amount of time to gauge. To me, I don't even think that they may even be sure about his date of birth.
Yeah.
I mean, born in a very poor family, they don't have clocks hanging in their village huts or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Some memory or something like that. There's clearly
yeah,
no
maybe like that.
doctors or anything like that, especially 1950 in India. They probably had some lady come out to help the mom and deliver the baby, and that's really what it was. So the speculation needs to come to a stop,
Yeah,
because we really don't know what his chart is. So